Life with Top Gear's Honda Civic Type R. Our Type RS properly run in and taking on a British winter. A big thank you to everyone who got stuck into the comments section when I introduced Top Gear's new Honda Civic Type R last month. If you need to catch up, the spec of our Rallye Red Civic Type R GT, and the comments thread discussing those looks. The questions you asked appear to fall into three main categories. Said one is what I'll call the how the hell can you be seen dead driving that thing committee. Someone asked if it's a pain to clean, and if the aero bits suffer with stone chips. Yes, the Civic's hang-gliding hedgehog styling really isn't to all tastes, it's fair to say. So as the miles rack up and the Civic visits all corners of the UK and ventures into Europe, I'll report back on what it's like living with such a brutally obnoxious wing, and the car on the bottom end. Being useful. Set 2 are the practicality questions. Plenty of you are quite keen to hear if the new XXL Center is useful for carrying a family, and if it's lost out in cargo skills after binning its clever flip-up cinema seats so the driver can sit lower. This time it's to do with shifting the fuel tank back. And if the fuel economy is crippling. Fear not, the Civic has already been deployed as a taxi, a refuse truck and a mountain bike wagon. Welcome back to that one. All mouth and no trousers? The last set is the questions that made me laugh. How many traffic light Grand Prix have you won? Can you iron a pair of gentleman's trousers on the rear wing? I'll have a go at answering these vital consumer queries as the law allows. Winter is coming. Anyway, here's a quick update on the Civic's first 1,000 miles, and how it's coped with winter. As you can see from the pictures, the car's able to contend with a dollop of snow over Christmas. What's been a really pleasant surprise is how much more neat and tidy this Civic Type R is in slippery conditions than the old car. Having a comfort mode to relax the dampers and keep the tires working with the road is a proper godsend. I think the tires themselves are in a different league too. It's not had winters fitted. Our Civic is on the factory fit Continental Sport contacts. They generate purchase from a greasy road that the old car's functionally identical Contis couldn't hope to find, and even when the boost does overwhelm their reserves of grip, the 20-inch rubber loses and regains traction with a smoother grip/slip/grip transition than the snatchy, tramping sensation in the old car. It's a spectacular transformation if you happen to live somewhere where rain is what's known as a lovely summer's day. So it's miles easier to drive the new car smoothly in dire weather, and still deploy decent gobbles of power. Which is pretty much the point of a Type R, not the full 316 bhp. Front drive has its limitations, but it's nowhere near as frustrating as it used to be. It even works in snow. Caution fog. Winter has exposed an irritating carryover from the old Civic, though this Type R steams up a lot. I think while it was being built a wet dog somehow got loose in the factory and hid in my car for a while. From the moment it arrived, just 328 miles old, the car's suffered with its windows fogging up incessantly. I don't like to run the A/C constantly because it knackers fuel economy and doesn't allow the stop-start to work in traffic. But unless the Civic is in constant demist mode on a damp day, all the windows are quickly layered with condensation. Plus, if you turn on the air recirculation handy in London, where I live, to stop the climate control fan sucking fumes into the cabin, the A/C gets cancelled and makes the issue even worse. The rear window's heater element button is going to get worn out at this rate. I'm planning to get hold of a dehumidifier and see if that dries the car out, but it's shame Honda hasn't sussed out a problem that existed last time around. Thirsty work. The Type R only had a 45-liter tank. This shot was taken after its first fill-up, having summited the mighty heights of 30 mpg. Isn't that display so Japanese? So many readouts, numbers and general anal retentiveness. Like that. So far, it's settled at about 28 mpg, though that seems to be improving as the engine loosens up. I babied it for the first 500 miles, then gradually started using a few more revs, but didn't challenge the change-up lights at the far end of the rev band until the magic 1,000 miles had passed. So I'm happy the 2.0-liter turbo tech has been running sympathetically. Still, only 250 miles or so to a tank is getting to be a bit of a pain. The challenge to breach 300 on one batch of super unleaded starts here. There'll be plenty of other details about life with the Type R to come back and mull over in the next couple of weeks. We need to talk about Apple CarPlay. Wireless smartphone charging. the decision to fit an electric handbrake, and whether or not this new Type R can, in fact, drive itself. For the latest auto news and reviews, follow Karen Bike on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Honda Civic 1.6 high-tech diesel review. The Honda Civic is a brilliant car, easily on a par with rivals such as the Ford Focus, Vauxhall Astra and VW Golf. Yet it is hamstrung slightly, its limited range of engines forming a barrier to entry for some users. It has suffered particularly with the lack of small-capacity diesels, but Honda is set to put this right with a new 1.6-litre diesel engine that promises high economy and low CO2 emissions. Design. The Honda Civic 1.6 high-tech is largely identical to every other Civic in the range, but there are a couple of subtle physical tweaks that help remind you of the fact you're dealing with an high-tech diesel model. Chief among these is the active grille shutter that closes at high speed to improve aerodynamics and opens at lower speed to improve cooling. The vehicle also has a set of rear side struts, vertical fins just ahead of the rear wheels, that direct airflow around the wheels, and side spoilers below the rear lights that help improve aerodynamics. Like every other current Civic, this car does have a few design foibles. Visibility through the rear is reduced by a silly split-level hatch, and very short or very tall drivers may find the speedo difficult to see because the steering wheel gets in the way. Practicality. The Honda Civic 1.6 high-tech's practicality is identical to other models in the range. Rear headroom is limited for 6-foot-tall passengers riding behind taller occupants up front, but the boot is massive, offering 477 litres with the seats up and 368 with them folded down, more than any of its primary rivals. The rear seat cushions fold up, too, offering a convenient space for tall loads, think potted plants etc. Up front, there's an ample number of well-shaped cubby holes to store gadgets, sweeties and the like. Performance handling. The Honda Civic has always been blessed with good ride-on handling, and this 1.6 high-tech is no different. In fact, if anything, this version is a little better than the others in the range. According to Honda, it has a quicker steering gear ratio for a more precise, go-kart-like turn-in, has modified front suspension that provides better stability during cornering, and the engine is 54 kilograms lighter than the 2.2-litre lump, so it feels less front-heavy. In practice, this Civic feels agile, has steering at least as responsive as that of the larger 2.2-litre high-tech diesel, and didn't feel prone to understeering when driven enthusiastically. It felt plenty powerful enough. The 1.6-litre engine produces a very respectable 120 PS, which is more than you get from the 1.6- and 1.6-litre engines in the Focus and Golf, respectively. Plus it is capable of churning out a very respectable 300 Nm of torque, which means it catapults itself away from stoplights and out of low-speed corners with aplomb. 0-60 miles per hour is a nippy 10.5 seconds, and it'll hit 129 miles per hour flat out. Economy environment. Where the Honda Civic 1.6 high-tech really shines is in its ability to deliver high economy and low CO2 emissions. Honda reckons it'll return a whopping 78.5 mpg if driven sensibly, while emitting a mere 94 g/km. Again, this compares very favorably with its rivals. There is one engine in the Ford Focus range that offers slightly better economy, but it provides nowhere near the same amount of power. It makes a mockery of the 1.6-litre engine in the Volkswagen Golf, too, delivering a superior blend of power and efficiency. Equipment value. The new Civic 1.6 high-tech is available in several trim levels, T, is T and X. The entry level is £19,400, comes fairly well equipped with everything you'll need to get by, including LED day running lights, 4 speakers, a CD/radio player with USB and AUX in and stop-start. The ES model, £20,595, adds rain-sensing auto wipers, dual-zone climate control, cruise control, a rear-view parking camera and automatic lights. The T and EST versions add a slightly idiosyncratic, but entirely functional sat-nav and Bluetooth to this and ES base packages, increasing each of their prices by £995. The X model, £23,175, adds a DAB radio receiver, a subwoofer, and a sat-nav with maps loaded onto a hard disk drive which can also be used to copy audio CDs onto. The new Civic 1.6i deck also come with an active noise cancellation system. Like headphones sporting similar technology, it uses microphones to capture low-end rumble from the drivetrain, tires etc. and creates a reverse phase audio signal that is played over the car's door speakers and subwoofer to reduce cabin rumble. According to Honda, the system allows for a 10 dB reduction in low-frequency noise levels. Safety. The Honda Civic has been awarded the 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating. The car uses Honda's advanced compatibility engineering ACE body structure, which distributes crash energy more evenly throughout the front of the car in the event of an impact, helping reduce the forces transferred to the passenger compartment. This system is kinder to pedestrians, too, improving their chances of survival should you inadvertently run them over. The Honda Civic i-Deck also comes with a full complement of airbags including front, side and full-length curtain airbags. Verdict. The Honda Civic was always a solid, dependable car that was practical and fun to drive. It was only ever let down only by the lack of a super-frugal, low-emissions engine option. The 1.6i deck engine addresses this issue perfectly and allows the Civic to compete with and emerge superior to rivals such as the Ford Focus 1.6i and VW Golf S Blue Emotion 1.6D. It's more powerful, has more torque, has lower CO2 emissions and is cheaper to run, making it a hugely attractive proposition. Key specs. Model tested Honda Civic 1.6i DTE. Engine 1.6-litre diesel 120 PS. Power 118 bhp. Torque 300 Nm. Acceleration 0-60 miles per hour in 10.5 seconds. Top speed 129 miles per hour. Economy 78.5 mpg. Emissions 94 g/kilometers CO2. Price £19,400. For the latest auto news and reviews, follow Current Bike on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Civic 1.6i Deck 2018 Review. Honda's 10th generation Civic is now available with a 1.6-litre diesel engine. We find out how this oil-burning hatchback stacks up. What is it? Welcome to the oil-burning version of the 10th generation Honda Civic. This new 1.6-litre, 4-cylinder diesel joins the petrol-powered 1.0-litre and 1.5-litre variants that were launched last year, as well as the barnstorming Type R, all of which we're already particularly fond of. The new diesel, which we've been driving on the shockingly battered streets of Rome, gains the same extensive updates that were introduced on the petrol models. Honda pulled out all the stops when it came to designing this car, dedicating a third of its research and development resources to the project. In fact, it's the product of the single largest development program in the company's history. There's a new platform, the revised suspension setup that comprises McPherson struts up front and a multi-link rear axle at the back, as well as a stiffened inner body and a lowered center of gravity. All of these changes, Honda says, have been implemented to lend the Civic a more agile and engaging driving experience. The 1.6-litre i-Deck engine has also been revised. New forged steel pistons replace the aluminium jobbies found in earlier incarnations of this power plant and help to reduce friction and cooling loss within the block. A new turbocharger offers reduced lag as well as improved low to mid-range pull. Its 221 pounds-feet of torque is available from 2000 rpm, while peak power, all 118 bhp of it, is reached at 4000 rpm. The key stats for this car, however, are its economy figures. Honda claims that the Civic diesel will manage 80.1 mpg on the combined cycle, with CO2 emissions from 93 g/kilometers. What's it like? Wednesday be stretching the truth ever so slightly if we said the Civic diesel was an exciting car to drive. But then again, An oil-burning family hatchback is never going to be the sort of car to set your heart racing. That's not to say the Civic isn't an impressively capable car, mind. While it's not particularly quick, it dispatches the 0-62 miles per hour dash in a leisurely 10.5 seconds, where it scores big points is in the ride department. You get the sense that there's very little that will upset the Civic. Its suspension copes well over rough and uneven surfaces. Even the mottled Roman roads of our test route didn't make it flinch, absorbing jolts with little fuss, and never managing to feel anything other than planted and stable. Its adaptive dampers limit vertical travel well, and even set to their spurriest setting, the Civic feels calm and collected. Quite why a diesel Civic needs adaptive dampers is another question entirely. It steers well, too, even if there is little in the way of feedback from the electromechanically assisted variable ratio rack and pinion steering, although that's the norm these days, isn't it? It doesn't roll a particularly noticeable amount through the bends, and sudden changes in direction don't upset the Civic's balance too significantly either. Wednesday liked to say that it grips well, too, but the roads of our Italian test route didn't provide much in the way of sharp bends. It did have an abundance of faster, gentler stretches of tarmac, though, which revealed the Civic's excellent refinement at cruising speeds. The 1.6-litre I-Tech is quiet, and happily sits at motorway speeds. It does lack some in gear shove, though, but this is solved by working the 6-speed manual gearbox, which is precise in its action and has a pleasingly short throw. The interior isn't the last word in luxury, with abundant plastics throughout, but you can't fault it as far as ergonomics are concerned. The Honda Connect infotainment system is a fly in the otherwise perfectly acceptable ointment, owing to the fact that it's not particularly responsive, and lags behind the competition as far as its graphics are concerned. Thankfully, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto go some way to remedying this. Should I buy one? Diesel isn't exactly flavor of the month at present, owing to increased government taxation and an apparent policy of misinformation surrounding its environmental credentials. Still, Honda expects diesel models to account for 31% of all UK Civic sales, so it wouldn't seem that all hope is lost. There's a lot to like about the Civic diesel, too. It's comfortable, drives well and is a refined long-distance tourer. Our £24,925 top SpaceX model came with plenty of standard kit and, next to similarly equipped rivals such as the Ford Focus and Seat Leon, is expected to hold significantly more of its value. However, the case is the same for its petrol-powered rangemates, which Wednesday opt for in a heartbeat. Not only are they cheaper to buy, they perform better, yet still won't leave you wincing at the fuel pump. Simon Davis. Honda Civic 1.6 I-Tech. Location: Rome. On sale now. Price £24,925. Engine 4 sales, 1,597 cc, turbocharged, diesel power 118 bhp at 4,000 rpm, torque 221 pounds-feet at 2,000 rpm, gearbox 6 SPD, manual, curb weight 1301 kg, 0-62 miles per hour, 10.5 sec, top speed 125 miles per hour, economy 80.7 mpg, combined CO2 93 g/km, 20% driverless. Seat Leon 1.6D's technology, Ford Focus 1.5 DSi 120 Titanium X. For the latest auto news and reviews, follow Car and Bike on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. 2018 Honda Civic I-Tech Diesel First Drive Review. This diesel's no weasel. Thanks for reading. Some may not even have got this far. Diesel is enemy number one as far as many influential or simply loud-mouthed people from the Treasury down are concerned. Who in their right mind would willingly now buy one? Yes, diesel might no longer be the fuel of the future, but it's probably the best choice for those seeking efficiency today and for the foreseeable. Only if your daily driving fits a very narrow set of parameters will an electrified car be for you, while petrols and even hybrids will almost certainly consume more fuel than a diesel. All new diesels also have to be 6 Euro emissions compliant, and the new ones launched from now are being subjected to the tough new WLTP fuel economy test, which includes real-world on-road emissions testing, just to be doubly sure car makers are and doing a VW and cheating the lab tests. Diesels have never been cleaner or greener. Which is why Honda's so happy to be launching its new Civic high-tech diesel, in spite of all the negative headlines. It is more fuel efficient than the old car, puts out less CO2, puts out way less NOx emissions and exhaust particulates, and is now on sale from just over £20,000. That's around £1,300 more than the 129 HP 1.0-litre petrol turbo alternative. The 1.6-litre turbo diesel is a revised version of the existing motor, equipped with a diesel particulate filter, a NOx filter that doesn't require AdBlue additive top-ups, and myriad detail tweaks that make it smoother and more refined than before. There's pent-up demand for this diesel Civic. Honda's steered some eager buyers into turbo petrols, but others have simply preferred to wait. They know only a diesel will give them the fuel economy they demand. Has the wait been worth it? And will those people who ignore the headlines be rewarded for their free-thinking common sense? First impressions. There's no diesel badge on the back of this diesel Civic. And it's much quieter at idle, with little telltale rattle, so only those with the keenest hearing may detect it's a diesel. You're dirty clean? Little secrets safe with Honda. Uncorrupted are thus the latest Civic's punchy looks. It's a bold, distinctive car. Honda's not been afraid to push the spurviness with some of the angles and bulges. The front end is broad, cars with the black pack trim wear it best, and I love the chunky rear arches and raked rear screen. Oh, and pleasingly, this is another generation of Civic with a floating rear spoiler. Even Essence models manage to not look plain or pared back, though the Civics you really want are the SR or, better still X. Both have 17-inch alloys, rather than the malnourished 16 seconds on the other two. To these eyes, the best color is brilliant sporty blue, and the black line pack is a must-have. It adds front chin spoiler, side skirts and rear diffuser. First seat. Relocating the fuel tank away from below the front seats means they can be positioned low, really low, if you want. You can drop down into it almost like a coupe, with a high center console to your side that's perfect for elbows. The stubby gear lever is also well located. It feels right from the off. The driving position is perfect, and although the seats aren't the hip huggers you get in a Type R, they're not bad. The digital dial pack is interesting. Honda's jammed a lot of lights and displays in there, but the freestanding touchscreen infotainment in the center is aged and not up to contemporary expectations. The saving grace is standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This Civic doesn't quite have the MPV-like feel of the old one in the rear, but there's a lot of space there, and it's a comfortable place to sit. Decent boot too, 414 litres even with the seats up, which is 34 litres more than a Volkswagen Golf. The side-mounted retractable load cover is a little slice of genius. First drive. Don't tell your passengers that it's a diesel, and, so long as you don't gun it through the gears, they may never know. That's how much more refined this new Civic diesel is compared to the old one, and even compared to a fair few of its modern rivals. Sure, it will rev through, and become gruff if you stray to 4,000 RPM and above. Aggressive takeoffs will also elicit a drone. But that's not how you drive diesels to their best. If you want to do that sort of stuff, get one of the Revy Patrols. Diesels, lest we forget, are about relaxed pulling power and low effort press and go. The Civic diesel does this well. It doesn't quite have the surge of, say, a VW Group DN-221 pounds-feet of torque is no more than adequate, and Honda admits it was concentrating on emissions and refinement rather than adding any more power or potency with this evolution. It's handy enough though, and more than up to scratch for a 120 HP mid-range diesel. The gearbox is lovely, a properly Honda snack shift. The powertrain in general is accomplished too, with no surges, rumbles, shudders or shakes. There's a classy finesse to driving it, one that shows exemplary tuning and attention to detail. It's not the quickest, but it's one of the nicest to drive. The short test route didn't throw up any obvious issues with ride and handling compared to the petrol models. The ride's a bit noisy over broken surfaces, of which there were many on the Italian test route, but it corners flat, with firm and positive steering weight, and that subtle extra slice of confidence you feel from a car with well-sorted suspension, admittedly, mind, one aided by adaptive dampers. They come as standard on top SpaceX models. Did I prefer driving it compared to a petrol Civic? Not a Type R, obviously, but I'd still pick it over a 1.0 litre or 1.5 litre. This new diesel is effortless, refined, almost entirely free from any distasteful diesel tricks. It's returning to the standout refinement boasted by Honda's original 2.2-litre ID diesel, something lost in the first era of the downsized 1.6, and is almost certain to deliver far better miles per gallon than the petrols. Family hatch diesel buyers, it's genuinely hard to fault. First verdict: if you don't do many miles a year, and rarely go near a motorway, as you were, there's nothing to see here. Save your £1,300 and carry on buying the 129 HP 1.0-litre petrol Civic. But those who cover average miles or more will know that only diesel will deliver the fuel economy and range they're used to. Fleet drivers, this is still the Civic for you. That Honda's worked to make it cleaner and more refined than ever, with maintenance-free NOx tech and compliance with the latest, toughest economy and efficiency tests, is further good news. If it's right for you, ignore the headlines and buy with confidence. It won't just save you a fortune in running costs, but should also surprise and remind you just why we used to like modern diesels in the first place. 5 rivals: Volkswagen Golf D, Ford Focus Xi, Seatley and D, Vauxhall Astra T, Toyota Auris Hybrid. Prices: 1.6 i-Deck S £20,120, 1.6 i-Deck £20,220, 1.6 i-Deck Senior £22,065, 1.6 i-T6 £24,925. Specifications: engine 1.6-litre i-Deck turbo diesel, power 120 HP, torque 221 pounds-feet, 0-62 miles per hour 9.8 seconds, top speed 124 miles per hour, fuel economy combined, NEDC 80.7 mpg, CO2 93 g/km, length/width/height 4518/1799/1434 mm, boot space seats up/down 414/1245 liters. For the latest auto news and reviews, follow Current Bike on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.